Our Khoi clan has always maintained the tradition of forming packs with spirit eggs. On our coming-of-age day, our chieftain father brought forth a qilin egg and an unknown egg for my sister and me to choose. In our past life, my sister chose the qilin egg first, but not only did it fail to hatch, it also consumed her lifelong cultivation, reducing her to a cripple who endured endless mockery and scorn. I, however, successfully hatched a primordial divine beast unseen for millennia in human form. His features possessed a peerless, otherworldly beauty that captivated all three realms. With the divine beast said, my status in the sect soared overnight, visitors flocked incessantly, and even the celestial venerable who plucks the moon came courting. Ultimately, I ascended to become the immortal consort. Given a second life, my sister rushed to claim the mysterious spirit egg first, while I merely curled my lips in silent amusement. During the celestial banquet, my sister, disguised as a maid, drove an enchanted dagger into my heart with grotesque fury. Die, Sora. Ah, surprised, sister, no matter how glorious your life was, you still ended up dying by my hand. Only I, Veil, deserve the finest things in this world. The celestial consort's throne was rightfully mine. How dare a mongrel like you claim the immortal sovereign's favor? The anticipated agony pierced through my chest. Instantly, my ears were flooded with servant screams, the chaos of scuffling, and my sister's maniacal laughter as she was dragged away. Unlike the anguish and despair most feel, my heart now overflows with unparalleled peace and relief. I deliberately gave my sister that opening. With her limited skills, she'd never have succeeded otherwise. How wonderful, I'm finally free from this bottomless abyss. This lifetime has truly exhausted me. When I slowly opened my eyes after what felt like an eternity, I realized I'd been transported back to the day we were choosing spirit eggs. I want this black egg, my younger sister declared loudly, shooting me a challenging glare. Veil, you mustn't. My normally composed stepmother paled, grabbing my sister's sleeve in alarm. This qilin egg was hard-earned by your father through pleading with the celestial emperor. That random black egg you picked up is likely some lowly demon spawn. How could it compare to this divine treasure? Even my ever-respected father frowned in agreement. Your mother speaks wisely. As I see it, the qilin egg is far more suited to your station. I lowered my eyes with a bitter smile. Yet in my past life, when father entrusted me with the black egg, he swore that with unwavering determination and diligent cultivation, immortality would be mine when destiny permitted. The so-called spirit egg is merely icing on the cake. The true path of cultivation lies within oneself. When did everything begin to change? Ah yes, everything changed after my mother fell in battle. When father remarried that fox spirit from Qingqiu and my sister Veil was born, childhood memories suddenly flashed before my eyes like a revolving lantern. My younger sister snatched the keepsake mother left me, smashed it before my eyes, and stuck out her tongue at me. Father merely patted my head and said indifferently, Sora, cultivating immortality serves the greater good of all. You must sever earthly attachments, abandon weaknesses, and never let such mundane possessions cloud your Taoist heart. When my mischievous sister deliberately burned immortal White Path's alchemy cauldron and injured herself, then framed me for it, before the entire court, my father ignored my pleas and excuses, lashing me relentlessly with a flaming whip coated in cumin. Too, as the eldest sister, you should bear the responsibilities that come with it. How dare you cause such trouble and still try to justify yourself? Sora, you've deeply disappointed me, just as stubborn as your mother ever was. From now on, you shall remain in this palace, not one step outside without my command. This flame whip was designed specifically to punish the most wicked in our clan. Each lash feels like 10,000 ants gnawing at your heart. As I lay half dead on the ground, my younger sister crouched before me with feigned innocence, curling her lips into a cruel smile. How does the flame whip feel? Dear sister, rumor has it this whip was tempered in the fires of hell for 9,990 days. I imagine, light chuckle, it must be quite unbearable. That's why I've been obsessively cultivating my magic since childhood. Even when my sister took all the best resources, I never showed the slightest resentment outwardly, only trained twice as hard in secret to secure my chance at survival. For I know too well, in this dog-eat-dog world of cultivation, the weak have no right to plead their case. The only one you can truly rely on is yourself. Yet despite all my efforts, fate still proved merciless. My bond with Black Egg became the very chain that dragged me into the abyss. Perhaps even heaven took pity, granting me the second chance. This life, I shall not repeat past mistakes. I will ascend to the pinnacle of power. Those who wronged me shall taste 100-fold the suffering they inflicted. As if to validate father's words, the ice-blue dragon egg pulsed with an ethereal azure glow, breathtakingly beautiful. In stark contrast, the black egg lay lifeless beside it, devoid of vitality. Upon closer inspection, one could even detect a sinister aura emanating from its surface. Clearly no auspicious omen. You're mistaken, father and mother. This black egg holds boundless potential for metamorphosis. The matter's settled, I'll hear no more objections. Without another word, the younger sister stepped forward and swiftly scooped Hayden into her arms. The stepmother opened her mouth to protest, but after the girl whispered something in her ear, her stern expression softened. Enough, my lord, she's grown now and has her own mind, let her have her way. Watching the mother and daughter's affectionate display, the father remained silent, his tacit approval, holding my breath all this while. I finally relaxed at the sight, watching my sister cradle that black egg with such smugness. Little does she know there's an abyss ahead waiting to swallow her whole. In its past life, though that black egg was a rare primordial beast from antiquity, none knew its true name, the gluttonous one. Tautai, ancient texts describe, there exists a beast with a bovine form, crimson body, human face, and equine legs, named Tautai. Its cries resemble a babe's wail, and it devours men. Though Tautai is an ancient divine beast with boundless magic, its fatal flaws are greed and cruelty, especially for newly transformed cubs. They require vast energy to fuel their magical growth. Little sister, where do you think Tautai obtains such power? It comes from me, the one bound to it by contract. You only see the glamour of my status, little sister, but never the agony I endure behind this facade. Even now, the memory of Tautia's cunning and greed, how it repeatedly pushed me to the brink of collapse, still sends chills down my spine. In my past life, when I formed a pact with the black egg and successfully hatched the ancient divine beast, my heart swelled with exhilaration, but that joy was short-lived as Tautia's true nature soon revealed itself, and thus began my living nightmare. The spirit egg's evolution demanded tremendous energy, forcing me to procure rare elixirs for it. This gluttonous creature was absurdly picky, only the finest herbs would do, and it would drink nothing less than celestial dew. As an unloved koi spirit, how could I possibly afford such extravagant spirit stones? Soon, I found myself stretched beyond my limits, yet the moment I slackened, I'd be tormented by phantom ants gnawing at my flesh, an agony more piercing than a dagger through the heart. It wasn't until I stumbled upon the truth. Tautai had secretly cast a spell on me with his magic to tighten his control. The slightest hunger he felt would rack me with agony, to keep me subdued. His power doubled with every level I gained. Worse still, his craving for demon souls forced me to hunt stronger fiends alone in the monster woods. Each hunt nearly cost me my life, covered in unhealed wounds. I'd plunge straight into the next battle before recovering. Years of accumulated wounds had long covered my body like a spiderweb, leaving me weaker with each passing day. Even if my sister hadn't stabbed me this time, my previous self was already living on borrowed time. What's more, the Tautai craves blood, and in its eyes, a master's blood is the finest tonic, especially when that master happens to be from the Koi clan. Koi blood possesses remarkable healing properties. A secret my mother confided in me. She warned me repeatedly never to reveal this, lest it bring catastrophic consequences upon our kind. Moreover, koi have extraordinary regenerative abilities. Blessed with innate good fortune, a severed tail will regrow completely within mere days. Tautai quickly noticed this phenomenon while torturing me. With his sadistic tendencies, Tautai reveled in others' suffering. The sheer agony of being trapped between life and death would excite him for hours. So every night when silence fell, he'd lock me in an icy dungeon and subject me to every torture device imaginable. One day he'd carve off my scales blade by blade, the next he'd snap my fins for sport. Nourished thus, he eventually manifested into a form with enviable good looks that surpassed all expectations. Female demons often marveled at my fortune, claiming I must have accumulated merits across lifetimes to obtain such a powerful and handsome spirit beast, yet he never acknowledged me as his master. In his words, "How dare a mere demon think to command me?" The gluttonous beast always despised demonkind, particularly female demons. He spared me no kindness, routinely belittling and striking me instead of showing gratitude. Their so-called help in achieving enlightenment was merely a ploy to exploit my power, to wreak havoc across the realms and carry out their unspeakable schemes in the shadows. I did consider turning to my father for help during that time, but what did I get in return? His scathing words, accusing me of shamelessness and insatiable greed. Even when confronted with my battered body, he chose to believe it was all my own orchestrated drama rather than face the brutal truth staring him in the face. After my desperate pleas, he stood by indifferently time and again, utterly unmoved. I wonder, if it were my sister this time, would he still remain so cold-hearted? 3. How amusing it will be to see the panic on my sister's face when she uncovers the filth beneath this glamour. Oh, dear sister, do take good care of this qilin egg. Wouldn't want you to fail attaching and get yourself tangled in it. What a waste, such a fine qilin egg gifted to a half-breed like you. My sister leaned in and whispered gleefully in my ear. At this moment, I finally realized with absolute certainty, my sister had also been reborn. Don't worry, little sister. Since the qilin egg is now mine, I'll take good care of it. Perhaps you should focus more on nurturing your own spirit egg instead. I shot a meaningful glance at the black egg cradled in her arms. As I lifted the qilin egg from the ground to leave, it suddenly erupted in a dazzling golden radiance, its brilliance almost blinding. The maids surrounding us immediately gasped in awe. Wow, so magnificent, as expected of a qilin egg. Its noble aura is simply overwhelming. Absolutely. Even when offered freely, the second Yin Miss refused such a precious qilin egg. We'd better start currying favor with the eldest Yin Miss. Once this egg hatches, the revival of our Koi clan will be within reach. You, all of you, Vale's face flushed with alternating shades of rage, his entire body trembling with barely contained fury. Ha, blind fools, when my spirit egg hatches, you'll see how idiotic your doubts were. The day of the spirit egg hatching had arrived, a sacred coming-of-age ritual every Koi must undergo according to their ancestral traditions. On the incubation platform, as the daughter of the Koi clan leader, this coming-of-age ceremony naturally invited distinguished spirits from all corners of the realm to attend the ritual. TCH, sister, save your breath, I'll be the one stealing the show this time. That pathetic egg of yours isn't some qilin egg at all. Doubt it could even hatch a measly chicken spirit. Ah, what a laughingstock. Don't embarrass our Koi clan and drag down a prodigy like me while you're at it. In her past life, she sacrificed all her cultivation just to hatch that egg, ending up completely crippled, despite having been among the clan's elite cultivators. Vale wouldn't believe that trash Sora could hatch anything worthwhile even if she saw it with her own eyes. As for that black egg, pure luck, ancient demon beasts with high talent are simply built different from common eggs. If Sora from my past life could do it, then surely this version of me will succeed in hatching it too. After scanning the sea of dark figures around us, my sister's eyes burned with the pride of certain victory and unconcealed provocation. I offered no reply, simply closing my eyes to attune myself to the flowing spiritual energy around me. Focusing entirely on incubating the qilin egg, truth be told, Vale never knew my true capabilities. Lessons from childhood had taught me better. A demon must learn to conceal its weaknesses, only then can it deliver the most devastating blow when its enemy least expects it. And this blue egg is no ordinary pheasant egg, it's a genuine qilin egg. In its past life, the gluttonous Taodai feared this blue egg above all else, scheming tirelessly to destroy it, for when the qilin emerges, it becomes the embodiment of justice, an obstacle to Taudia's plans of plunging the three realms into chaos. I've come to terms with it, even if we fail to hatch the qilin this time. It's within expectations. Even if this blue egg turns out to be a genuine pheasant egg, I'd gladly accept it as long as we escape the Taudia's clutches. As I kept channeling spiritual energy, my stamina gradually waned, and beads of sweat the size of peas began forming at my temples. Yet despite all this, the blue egg showed no signs of change whatsoever. Just as I was desperately forcing my body to hold on, the crowd erupted in gasps of astonishment and cheers. For, wow, everyone, look, what's that? Such formidable magical power. Could this be the legendary primordial beast seen only once in a millennium? To think this old demon would live to witness such a divine creature. The second Yin Miss truly is a heaven-sent prodigy. Old Ling, you're blessed indeed. To have such a daughter is a 1,000-year blessing for our demon realm. Several other elder demons gasped in awe, their envy toward father unmistakable. I knew my sister had successfully hatched, even with my eyes closed. I could picture father's beaming face. Nothing pleased the proud man more than admiration and flattery. See, mother, I told you my decision was right. Look at Sora, utterly useless. Not a single sign of progress after all this time. My younger sister cooed in an unbearably saccharine voice. There, my child. I always knew you'd achieve greatness, Vale. Now you've hatched an ancient divine beast. You're truly our Koi clan's blessed one. TCH. That little bastard isn't fit to lick your boots. Just like his whore of a mother, worthless trash. As I irritably dug at my ear, I wondered, when my sister eventually tastes the bitterness of my past life's suffering, would she still carry herself with the same haughty pride? Oh, how deliciously this anticipation grows. With a quiet sigh, I refocused on incubating the blue egg. Little did I know, my sister had other plans to make my life difficult. A sharp whooshing sound. A tiny fish scale embedded itself deep in my arm. The slender wound immediately oozing blue blood, a metallic taste rose in my throat, my breathing growing ragged. Seems my dear sister can't wait to send me to my grave. Every demon knows egg incubation must never be disturbed. The slightest misstep could drive the cultivator into chi deviation, precisely because of these dire consequences. Interrupting another's incubation is considered the most despicable act in demon society. How unfortunate that I simply refused to comply with her wishes. Little sister doesn't realize, after enduring the most excruciating hardships along this journey, what significance does this trifle hold. And so, though countless tiny knife wounds soon appeared upon my body, I remained immovable as a mountain, seated as though nothing in this world concerned me, until the crowd stirred once more. Look, a golden light piercing the heavens. The tribe's most composed elder spoke first, his voice trembling. By the gods, this is an auspicious omen. The others immediately chimed in. I thought the emergence of that ancient divine beast earlier was already extraordinary, but this one surpasses all in nobility. My eyes must be failing me. Our young mistress is truly peerless. This lowly one shall slap himself 100 times in penance. The golden radiance stands supreme among all divine beasts across the three realms, its might rivaling even the mount of the celestial emperor, even their father. who had merely smiled faintly while suppressing his joy when the younger sister hatched a millennium-old divine beast, now collapsed weakly into his chair at this miraculous sight, losing control of his bladder. My sister, who'd just been gloating about how long it would take for me to become worthless, froze mid-smirk at the sight before her. How is this possible? I was the one who became trash in my past life. Why can this good-for-nothing suddenly, before she could finish? The golden celestial phenomenon vanished as abruptly as it appeared, leaving no trace of its existence. Witnessing this, the tension finally drained from my sister's expression. I told you so. Trash will always be trash, never capable of making waves. Ever since my sister hatched that ancient divine beast, our father and stepmother's favoritism toward her has peaked. They treat her like a delicate treasure, afraid she'll melt in their mouths or shatter in their hands. A constant stream of rare treasures and spirit stones flows into my sister's chambers. She was truly the apple of their eye. Back in my past life when I hatched a spirit beast, Father merely sternly admonished me repeatedly to care for my younger sister and not grow arrogant, using the excuse that seeing me would upset her to avoid suspicion. He directly sent me off to a remote estate. My sister kept flaunting her advantages before me, whether intentionally or not. Having an ancient divine beast is such a hassle. Demons keep visiting non-stop. It's unbearably noisy. Your place is much quieter, sister, though that East Sea luminous pearl the Dragon Clan's second prince gifted me the other day was rather exquisite. I couldn't care less, didn't even spare her a glance. Sora, stop pretending. Just a pathetic stray dog. How dare you ignore me? That holier-than-thou attitude of yours makes me sick, Vale shrieked, nearly hysterical. Annoying. I dug at my ear and walked away without another word. Just suppressing your jealousy. I see right through you. Just wait. Vale, we'll have far more than this in the future. When that day comes, don't come crying to me. One night during the full moon, returning late from cultivation, I stumbled upon my sister secretly meeting different men on multiple occasions. This aligned perfectly with recent rumors of numerous male demons dying from drained yang energy. I knew then the Taotai had begun draining my sister's blood. The Taotai once told me that dual cultivation through yang absorption was a peerless method to enhance cultivation, even attempting to seduce me into practicing it. I naturally refused, but it seems my sister has chosen a different path. Under the dual torment of the Taotai and nightly encounters with male demons, my sister's health visibly deteriorated. She abandoned her revealing garments for long dresses to conceal the bloodstains beneath her sleeves, and that ever-swelling belly, yet what grew alongside was the resentment and hatred in my sister's eyes whenever she looked at me. Though I knew not what pact my sister had struck with the Taotai, her refusal to seek our clan's aid told me it couldn't be anything good. Father mistook her exhaustion for magical overexertion. His swelling pity drove him to deliver my year's worth of spirit stones and celestial herbs straight to her courtyard the moment I was away. 5. She's your own flesh and blood. Just a few measly spirit stones. How could I have raised such a heartless wretch? When your sister ascends to immortality, those stones will flow like water. Why hoard your petty stash? On the second day, as in past lives, the celestial venerable Jasper arrived at the Khoi clan, declaring his intent to select a disciple from their younger generation. As a demon tribe devout to the celestial realm, Father always took pride in our kin achieving immortal ascension. When news came that Jasper had singled out the Khoi clan from countless demon tribes, he grew so exhilarated he scarcely slept for nights. Jasper, the celestial deity, possesses ethereal grace and an aloof transcendence. As the Jade Emperor's most trusted lieutenant, he commands immense reverence across the three realms, beloved by all. With his peerless beauty and overwhelming power, Jasper has become the unattainable fantasy of the three realms, admired from afar but never to be touched. Divine One, my second daughter Vale shows promising talent. She recently hatched an ancient divine beast. Might you consider taking her as your first disciple? The father fawned obsequiously. A cold laugh rose in my heart. In my past life, Father nominated my sister first, praising her as exceptionally bright and kind-hearted. Though her magic falls short of mine, she excels in diligence and noble character. This life repeats the pattern, yet the justification shifted to might makes right. The most powerful mage naturally commands universal support. Such blatant favoritism. Jasper turned his gaze sideways, toward his sister who was staring at him with such infatuation that she might as well have been drooling, and frowned slightly. My eyes remained fixed on that ethereal figure at the hall's far end, my nails digging into my palms without my notice. If the Taotai was the source of my nightmares in my past life, then Jasper was the colossal trap the heavens had specifically laid for me. To be honest, after all I'd been through, I hated Jasper more than even the Taotai. That's right, choosing me is absolutely the best decision. Jasper dear, even the ancient divine beast recognized me as its master. I'll work extra hard. Vale kept batting her coquettish eyes at Jasper with a bashful expression, her voice dripping with honeyed sweetness. One might mistake her for being in heat. Oh, so it was your precious daughter who manifested that golden radiance the other day. The mention of divine beasts finally piqued Jasper's interest. Vale, lost in his fantasy, froze abruptly, his previously radiant expression turning downright grim. Just my eldest daughter, born under strange signs, pure coincidence, to my shame. The egg never hatched. Remembering that day still makes my father seethe with resentment toward me. He'd always thought his daughter was his pride and joy, only to realize it was all a facade. The humiliation of being mocked by other demon clans still burns. How could he not resent her? Seeing Jasper's attention fixed on me, a seething veil gathered a spell orb channeling at least 90% of his power, then hurled it straight at me. Yet outwardly, he feigned panic. Oh dear, sister. My apologies, I've been overflowing with spiritual energy lately and lost control. However shall I make amends? You'll be lucky to survive this intact. Sobs, it truly wasn't intentional. Had I not known my sister's temperament so well, even I might have believed those crocodile tears of hers. A shimmering blue barrier instantly enveloped me, deflecting what would have been a fatal blow, as the luminous mist dissipated. I stood completely unscathed, my eyes radiating icy detachment. I'm impossible. After all my recent cultivation breakthroughs, you're just a worthless runt who can't even hatch a spirit egg. No, Tautai wouldn't lie to me. My sister took a step back, murmuring with utter bewilderment in her eyes. Truth be told, I'd already successfully hatched the qilin beast by the next day after incubating the egg. That morning I woke up groggily to find a fuzzy little creature curled up in my arms, absolutely adorable. The successful hatching wasn't just due to my efforts, it seemed connected to the bracelet my mother left me. The little one was particularly drawn to that coral bracelet. Whenever it got close, its spiritual energy would surge dramatically. I later discovered that the ancestral qilin had a bond with my mother. To repay her life-saving kindness, it had infused the bracelet with its spiritual energy, making the egg's maturation inevitable. During this time, I kept myself busy too. Often taking the qilin beast out to battle monsters and gain experience, my cultivation has improved significantly as well. The dawn of vengeance seems within reach. My sister has always been petty, so I downplay my abilities to avoid unnecessary trouble. I haven't mentioned this to anyone, so this deadly ambush my sister was so proud of barely even grazed me. I hadn't planned to reveal myself so soon. Now it seems I won't get a moment's peace in the coming days, just as expected. On the very night Jasper left, the qilin stone was stolen, our clan's most sacred relic. The clan was in uproar, with growing unrest among the people. You insolent wretch, hand over the cosmic stone now. In the dead of night, I was abruptly dragged by my hair while sound asleep, forced to kneel at the center of the grand hall. Before I could even utter a word in my defense, smack, the next instant, a vivid handprint bloomed across my cheek. My father's palm strike carried such force that it made me cough up blood. Sometimes I really want to ask him, am I really his biological child? How can siblings from the same bloodline be so different? And all of this stemmed from nothing but my younger sister's single remark. Lately I've noticed my sister constantly going in and out of the pagoda. Could it be? Nonsense. The treasure thief must be someone else entirely. How could my sister ever do such a wicked thing? 7. But sister. To err is human. If you return what you took, surely even father would forgive you. I wiped the blood from my lips, calmly watching my sister's performance. With a cold laugh, I met my sister's gaze directly and said, I told you, it wasn't me. My little sister grew flustered under my gaze, her eyes darting away nervously. Indeed, I knew exactly who stole the qilin stone. It was my sister, in our past lives. The gluttonous Tautai had also tempted me to steal this sacred stone to enhance my cultivation, but I'm a demon with principles. How could I betray my kin? My defiance earned me nothing but a brutal beating. Seeing my stubborn denial, father flew into a rage, bellowing threats to strip me of my koi bones and cast me out of the clan. The surrounding clamor stretched and compressed like taffy, while a swarm of phantom bees droned inside my skull, amidst the bone-rending agony of the ritual. I caught the ghost of a smirk curling my sister's lips. Who'd have thought our noble lady would bring such disgrace, a walking calamity for our koi kindred? She deserves execution. Plucking her scales is mercy, all quiet on the surface, yet rotten to the core. Look at her groveling like a dog, staining the hall with her blood. What a disgrace. TSK, those crocodile tears, who's she trying to seduce now? They say female demons are temptresses. And damn if the rumors aren't true, bet she'd be a wild ride. Heh, stripped clean of flesh like a fish skeleton, I was dumped in the mass graves. By chance, Jasper happened by. He saved me and brought me back to the Morning Dew Palace. He said we were fated to meet. He asked if I'd be willing to become his blade. His blade. I'd gladly be a weapon, but not one to help him roam the world and accumulate virtue. It was nothing less than a lethal dagger aimed straight at his heart. Jasper grew increasingly pleased with my reliable and efficient work, entrusting me with more responsibilities that steadily expanded my authority. Everyone in the Morning Dew Hall knew my status was now second only to Jasper himself, yet Jasper remained somewhat guarded around me. After all, I still hadn't been brought into that particular matter. That night, donning black robes instead of his usual white to avoid detection. Jasper stealthily opened the hidden door in his study and slipped into the secret passage. With a quick hand seal for invisibility, I followed silently behind. At the end of the dim corridor lay a demonic youth shackled in iron chains. The boy's crimson eyes burned with feral intensity as he growled low like a caged beast, his mind clearly long gone. Jasper gazed at the youth with profound tenderness. His slender fingers tracing the boy's chiseled features, he murmured incessantly with a feverish, almost deranged intensity, "Hold on a little longer, ACI. The Master's elixir is nearly complete. Soon, nothing in the three realms can keep us apart. We'll be together for eternity, my love." With trembling reverence, he pressed his lips to the youth's as if worshipping the rarest treasure in existence. Who could have imagined that such an ethereal immortal master harbored such dark secrets? Yet to me, this was no surprise. I'd known this secret since my past life, for it was the very source of my suffering then. The world remains oblivious. Though immortals and demons are sworn enemies, Jasper secretly shelters the demon realm's overlord, who was, in truth, his first disciple. Beyond their master-disciple relationship, the two had secretly become cultivation partners. 8. As I departed, I casually tossed a handful of unidentified powder toward the youth. 15. After completing all preparations, the days passed one by one until my long-awaited moment finally arrived. On this day, numerous beings from the three realms suddenly arrived at the Clear-Dew Palace, including many dignitaries from all walks of life. We beseech an audience with the Celestial Venerable. The crowd's pleas rose and fell in waves. Some days ago, my son descended to the mortal realm for a visit but never returned. Among the 9 heavens, the Celestial Venerable possesses the greatest power. We humbly beg your mercy to investigate this matter for us. The white-bearded immortal leading the group wept bitterly atop his rainbow-hued cloud, crying out, "Mine's gone missing too. Could some demon have snatched him? Woe is me, my poor child. Had I known, I'd never have forced you to train in the monster forest." The crowd erupted in chaotic discussion. "Peace, honored ones. The Celestial Venerable shall give this matter due justice." Night falls. The Hall of Morning Dew has prepared celestial refreshments. Please follow me. While the immortal venerable was busy entertaining guests, I quietly slipped into the depths of the heart lake with an ancient bronze key I'd swiped from him. Thank heavens for that magical powder I sprinkled on Talon days ago. Its frenzy-inducing effect on demons distracted Jasper long enough for me to snatch the key. I gave myself a silent pat on the back. 16. The depths of Heart Lake. Within the great water prison, countless cages stood in perfect rows, centered around a massive alchemy furnace. At first glance, the cages appeared as a sea of shadowy figures. Among them were humans, demons, and celestial beings of all kinds. Each cage held several captives, some gaunt and hollow-eyed, others covered in wounds, barely clinging to life. Among them were the privileged offspring of nobility who'd come begging Jasper to find their missing children. Indeed, I deliberately abducted these bluebloods with one purpose, to bring Jasper down for good. Days earlier, Jasper had paid me a fortune in spirit stones to recruit talented commoners genuinely devoted to cultivation. Under the noble pretense of giving underprivileged disciples a chance at immortality, I immediately saw through Jasper's scheme. Using these powerless commoners as alchemical ingredients was perfect. Since they'd never make waves, I'd never let him have his way. 17. In my past life, Jasper deliberately approached me with feigned kindness when I was battered by the Tautai. Having taken notice of my koi-fish spiritual constitution, foolishly believing this to be destiny, I quickly fell into Jasper's honeyed trap. When he came courting with marriage proposals, I basked in fleeting glory. Just when I thought we'd become immortal lovers, never to part, on our wedding night, Jasper shed all pretense of tenderness, as he sadistically harvested my flesh with torture instruments. I realized his true aim, to use koi flesh as medicinal ingredients for his precious disciples' recovery. Days and nights of cruel torment had long since filled me with venomous hatred for him. Didn't Jasper dream of flying off into the sunset with his precious disciple? I'll make damn sure that never happens. First I calmed the crowd, freed a few skilled demon cultivators from their shackles, then worked with them to release the rest. Then I revealed my next move to them. Everyone saw me as if a deity had descended, and naturally agreed without hesitation. 18. Throughout the rescue, I remained calm, unafraid that Jasper might suddenly notice something amiss, because I had absolute faith in my sister's ability to be utterly clingy. Indeed, I had already returned to the Koi clan yesterday. First, I had my most trusted maid accompany me in staging an elaborate act, pretending to be utterly heartbroken while accusing Jasper of secretly sketching my sister's portrait. All signs pointed to his deep affection for her. In truth, Jasper intended to make my sister his consort, but his masculine shyness led him to play hard to get. Just as expected, that foolish sister of mine swallowed it hook, line, and sinker. After all, she had fallen for Jasper at first sight in her past life. With his celestial grace and noble status, Jasper was the perfect match to satisfy her vanity. They're probably still wrapped up in their passionate affair right now. Inner hall. Brother Jasper, I knew you had feelings for me. Don't be shy now. I'm willing. Miss Ling, you must be mistaken. I've repeatedly made it clear that I hold no affection for you. 9. Jasper had long been exasperated by Vale's pestering, though propriety had kept him from lashing out, until the servant whispered in his ear that all the demons had escaped from the water dungeon. Oh, where are you going, Jasper? Oh dear. What should I do now? You fancy someone but are too shy to confess. Keep this up and you might lose me. Seeing Jasper turn pale and walk away, Vale pouted coquettishly, trying to make him stay. Little did she know Jasper wouldn't even glance her way. The muffled giggles of other girls reached her ears. Who would have thought the second daughter of the Koi clan is such a simpleton, pales in comparison to her sister. Vale flew into a rage. Just you wait, once I ascend as celestial consort, I'll have your cores ripped out and sell you all to brothels. 19. So it's you. How impressive. You've been scheming to get close to me all along. This was your goal, wasn't it? How dare you play tricks under my watch? Speak. Where are they now? Jasper gripped Vale's throat with one hand while forming a lethal seal with the other, his usually refined features twisted with rare fury, his eyes burned crimson, voice dripping with menace. Vale had never seen Jasper like this. Within moments, a foul-smelling puddle of unidentified liquid pooled beneath his trembling legs. He literally pissed himself in terror. I know nothing about this, immortal venerable one. The entire Deng household was drawn by the commotion, yet none dared intervene. Vale's father, who had just been boasting about his son moments earlier, now burned with shame, wishing he could drown himself in a pond, silently fearing this scandal might implicate the entire Koi clan. The father shot a venomous glare at his pleading stepmother, begging him to save Vale. This is all your fault. You spoiled her rotten. Look what your precious daughter has become. Foolish woman. Jasper exchanged a meaningful glance with his attendant. The attendant immediately understood, tracing a sigil near Vale's body. Vale writhed in agony from the disturbance. Gradually, visions of Vale's past began materializing in the air. The mirror of retrospection. Legend says it can replay someone's past like flipping through a picture book, but the subject suffers excruciating pain, which is why it's rarely used. For millennia, such arcane arts were thought lost to time. Who could have imagined even the immortal venerable subordinates possessed such skills? The performance reflected in the mirror was nothing short of spectacular. From petty theft of spirit stones to promiscuous encounters with men to absorb their young energy, resulting in pregnancy. Even the smug look on my sister's face when she sabotaged me during the egg incubation ritual was captured in perfect detail by the mirror. Naturally, it also revealed the scene of my sister sneaking into the grand hall at midnight to steal the cosmic stone. Vale watched as the once reverential gazes of her peers gradually twisted into contempt, feeling such a surge of rage that she nearly fainted on the spot. As for my so-called parents, they performed an abrupt carp sleep and collapsed in a dead faint. Whether genuine or feigned remains anyone's guess. Ugh, who knew Vale would stoop this low, carrying some bastard child while lusting after the immortal sovereign, and here I was moping over her rejection last week. Pah, just a cheap slut playing hard to get. What a waste of the gifts I showered on her. Disgusting. To scheme against her own flesh and blood. What a venomous viper. She deserves to be deep-fried in boiling oil. Only a twisted mind like hers could concoct something as vile as draining vitality through forced coupling. I used to wonder how such profound cultivation was achieved. Now I see it's nothing but cheap tricks. How blind I was, treating this demon like some precious treasure. 20. Seeing the timing was right, I finally stepped forward with deliberate slowness. It must have been you. Vale's eyes snapped open as if waking from a deep trance. Her pupils dilated violently as a murderous aura erupted around her. The divine beast mark between her eyebrows blazed with radiant light while her 19 bone claws shot straight for my throat. I didn't even blink. A blinding golden light interposed itself between me and the skeletal claws. Vale was engulfed by a massive magical backlash, his body slamming violently into the hall's great pillar with such force that it carved out a gaping hole before he collapsed unconscious. Audacious Jasper. You dare secretly harbor demonic fiends and refine elixirs with the lives of our three realms people. Henceforth, your divine bones shall be excised, and you'll be confined to the 9 heavens frozen prison, enduring 100 celestial strikes each full moon. Without decree, you shall never again see daylight. The fiend alone shall be cast into the cliff of eternal remorse under the same decree. The celestial emperor's imperious voice reverberated through the grand hall, its echoes lingering without end. What followed was the tearful reunion between the rescued disciples of the three realms and their clansmen, those I'd just freed from the water prison. The stunned crowd finally regained their composure, filling the air with curses against Jasper and effusive praise for my heroic deed. With this came my meteoric rise in status. 10. Ingratitude. The assembly petitioned the celestial emperor to appoint me as the new supreme deity, replacing Jasper with the divine title Venerable Sovereign of the West. 21. Since becoming the first demon queen to ascend as a supreme deity, I've mentored many female demons from humble origins who suffered discrimination, teaching them this truth: our fate lies in our hands, not heaven's decree. What does being female demons matter? With courage and vision, we can hold up the heavens across all three realms. Why must we be condemned from birth to lurk in shadows? Enduring the slander of seductive demonesses and society's scorn, to their credit, they quickly rose to become top performers in their respective fields. An increasing number of female demons secured official positions across the three realms, bringing prosperity to their domains. After witnessing my ascension to divinity, my father never ceased showering me with favors. One day it's snow lotus elixirs from celestial mountains, the next it's century-old spirit shrimp from our clan. These were the attention and favor I craved from my father as a child, but now I couldn't care less about them. My dear girl, my precious eldest daughter, I was a fool, blinded by lies to treat you this way. Don't worry, I've already banished that old witch to the cold palace. Facing my father kneeling on the ground, his face streaked with tears, I felt completely numb. The bond between father and daughter died long ago. Any debt of gratitude for raising me was settled when you carved the fishbone from my flesh. Spare me your words. With that, she turned on her heel and left. I gained many followers across the three realms who, upon learning of my history with my father, became enraged on my behalf and made his life miserable. One day they'd torch his residence, the next they'd disguise themselves as bandits and give him a thorough beating. After being struck by the celestial emperor, my sister fell gravely ill, miscarrying her child and losing her sanity. She began raving about being some celestial consort, demanding everyone kneel and worship her. Some libertine, smitten by her fading beauty despite her tarnished past, finally took her as his wife. Our father seized the chance to offload this liability, rushing through their wedding overnight. Her madness turned the household upside down. The fickle playboy soon lost interest, confining her to a cramped courtyard where she wasted away in despair. Her contracted beast, the Taotai, shared her fate through their spiritual bond, its power waning as her fortunes crumbled. In this lifetime, he hadn't even managed to attain human form. The weakened Taotai frequently fell prey to bullying from other spirit beasts. The once revered divine beast's sudden fall from grace speaks volumes about its plight. Kicking the fallen and currying favor with the powerful was their standard practice. That day, as I passed through the demon realm, a disheveled Taotai suddenly darted up from nowhere, blocking my path. The grimy little creature nearly made me mistake it for a rat demon. You there? Yes, you. Consider yourself honored. This venerable one has taken a liking to you. Will you form a pact with me? I can make you soar to greatness. Ruling the three realms will be child's play. Before the words child's play fully left its mouth, the Taotai was sent flying into the clouds by a kick from my qilin companion. What tremendous energy! Bah, such filth isn't worthy of my master's sight. 11. Chewing on a blade of grass, I squinted my eyes and leaned against the qilin side, sitting cross-legged atop the mountain as I watched the clouds drift across the sky. The gentle breeze caressed my face, bringing an unprecedented serenity to my heart. Story 2. I was publicly executed for stealing supplies, and everyone was eager to carry out the lingering death punishment on me. The leader raised her hand to stop them and demanded that I kneel down and admit my mistake. She said she would let bygones be bygones. I should be grateful to her. However, she was the one who stole the supplies. The residents of the base surrounded me and shouted, "Kill, kill, kill." I smiled and performed a magic trick for everyone. I raised my hand and directly crushed the leader's face. Trillions of supplies piled up appeared out of thin air, shocking everyone. This time, it was her turn to kneel down and admit her mistake. 1. After the end of the world arrived, trillions of supplies across the country were looted. In just 5 years, the major bases could no longer sustain themselves. If we couldn't find that person, everyone would have to die. But she had already vanished without a trace at this moment. I was kneeling and silently roaring. The empty city in front of me was my last hope. There was no more medicine. Holding my younger brother who was having a heart attack, I felt powerless. The hatred in my heart for that person reached its peak, and I vowed to make her life a living hell. Suddenly, the sound of footsteps came. I looked up and saw a familiar face, Harper, the person I hated the most before the end of the world. After tutoring my younger brother for 2 months, she was kicked out of my house by me. Since then, she had hated me deeply and retaliated recklessly. How can you be such a sister? Your younger brother is about to die, yet you're just crying here. The urgency in her tone was as if she wasn't the one who had cursed. Your younger brother has the look of an early death. He will definitely not live to adulthood. I stared at her intently, and my palm under my clothes silently gathered my powers. Harper was completely unaware and continued with a look of being. It's hard to translate this Chinese idiom precisely, but it means a sense of disappointment and frustration at someone's failure to live up to expectations. If you don't have medicine, you should have said so earlier. I really can't believe you. Who are you showing this pathetic look to? After saying that, she reached into her bag, took out a box of quick-acting heart-saving pills, and quickly handed them to me. I really don't want to say anything more about you. Hurry up and give them to him. I was stunned, and all my powers dissipated. The medicine that I couldn't find even after searching the whole city was given to me by her. I had even been prepared for her to take out a knife and launch a surprise attack on me. Harper seemed to be different from before the end of the world. Saving people was the top priority. Thinking of this, I couldn't help but feel a bit grateful. and my gaze towards Harper became a bit more sincere. Thank you. It's easy to add flowers to a brocade, but it's hard to send charcoal in the snow, so I could temporarily pretend not to see the boundless trillions of supplies in her space. Too, Harper was that person, the one who emptied the country and hid away. In 5 years, the major bases had all returned in defeat, and no one could find the space ability user who was deliberately hiding, except for me. I could see. My ability was called X-ray vision. I could not only see the space of space ability users but also the crystal cores of ability users. After traveling across more than half of China, I finally found my mission target. At that moment, I was going to kill her on the spot, but she was holding my younger brother's life-saving medicine. I could spare her life for the time being. I bowed my head towards her and reached out my hand. TSK, TSK, TSK. Look at her. She looks like a dog. A strange male voice suddenly came to my ears. My heart rate suddenly increased. It must be so satisfying to see the person you hate the most groveling in front of you. The voice was crystal clear. I held my breath and looked around. There was no one around. It wasn't an invisibility ability. Harper didn't understand my hesitation and held out the medicine again. It must be an illusion. I shook my head and composed myself. If I hesitated any longer, I would be judging a gentleman's heart with a villain's mind. I quickly reached up to take the medicine. Wait a minute, Harper suddenly shouted and pulled her hand back, putting the medicine back into her pocket. I froze and didn't dare to move. She looked anxious and opened her backpack to rummage through it. I became anxious. Is the medicine gone? Harper ignored me. She stood up, picked up some dry branches around, stacked them together, and used her lightning ability to light a fire. Then she took out a pot. She turned around and comforted me. Look how anxious I am. I even forgot that you need to take the medicine with warm water. Wait a moment. I'll be done soon. No need. Seeing Harper pour 2 bottles of mineral water, I was so anxious that my throat felt dry. Really? There's no need. Serena can't be delayed. The quick-acting heart-saving pills only need to be held under the tongue. Yes, there is a need. Harper interrupted me and gave me a disapproving glance. Even in the apocalypse, we should pay attention to hygiene. How can you live so slovenly? After saying that, she moved to a place where I couldn't reach and suddenly clicked her tongue. Come to think of it, it's still your fault. Since you knew your younger brother had a heart condition, why didn't you carry the medicine with you? You're not even as good as an outsider. You keep saying you love your family, but is this how you show your love? Your love is really too cheap, Brielle. It's not that I'm criticizing you, but you've really failed at life. She kept nagging, but the water wouldn't boil for a long time. She was doing it on purpose. She was stalling for time. In an instant, I gathered my powers and raised my hand to snatch the medicine. Haha, Harper, you really know how to torment people. That male voice appeared again. If you stall for a while longer, her younger brother will die right in front of her. It wasn't an illusion. Was he one with Harper? Seeing me standing there in a daze, not listening to her words at all, Harper sighed. Brielle, how did you become like this? It's really disappointing. The look of deep regret on her face was just like when I had decided to drive her away despite her desperate pleas. Considering that she was still applying for a scholarship, I didn't make a big fuss about the matter. I just warned her to stay away from my younger brother. Harper, you're demeaning yourself like this. I'm really disappointed in you. The memory ended, and I looked up at Harper. The fire had already gone out, but she didn't care at all. Her narrow eyes were like those of a wild beast, staring at me and observing me. Seeing that I had finally reacted, she curled the corner of her mouth, and there was actually mockery in her eyes. She reached out and waved the medicine box in front of me. Sure enough, I mocked myself in my heart. Misunderstanding a wild beast was undoubtedly courting death. Thinking of this, I was chilled by the compassion I had just felt. Staring into her eyes, I stretched out my hand. Give me the medicine. Harper stood up and asked me with a laugh, Brielle, who do you think you're talking to right now? You're not even as good as a dog in my eyes. You want this, don't you? Bark twice, and I'll, Suddenly, boiling water shot out from the pot and splashed straight towards Harper. She raised her hand to release a lightning shield and dodged awkwardly. The medicine box fell from her hand and flew towards me in midair. After catching the medicine box, I quickly took out the pills and gave them to my younger brother. Then I stood up, and the powerful powers around me blew up the corners of my clothes. I decided to crush Harper's crystal core right now, expose her supplies. 3. Once the space crystal core was shattered, the supplies would automatically be revealed. I just needed to see the location of Harper's crystal core and raise my hand to crush it. Leader, suddenly, a shout came from behind, and 4 or 5 people ran over with great effort. Over here, Harper waved her hand. The originally tense atmosphere suddenly changed. These people seemed to know me and greeted me warmly. Harper also changed her attitude. She even took the initiative to introduce to me that these were the residents of her base. Then, with a conflicted expression, she reached out to me. The quick-acting heart-saving pills are the common property of the base. For Serena's sake, I broke the rules, but you can't take them away. Please return the medicine to me. As soon as she finished speaking, the others stopped smiling and silently put their hands on the knives at their waists. I chuckled. Under Harper's surprised gaze, I raised my hand and threw the medicine to her. She thought I would hold on to this box of medicine. But the premise was that I hadn't seen the mountains of medicine in her space. It was better to directly expose her space than to take just one box of medicine. I activated my ability and searched for Harper's space crystal core. The next moment, my eyes widened in shock. Harper actually didn't have a space crystal core. In her body, there was only a lightning crystal core that was about to reach the full level. Without a space crystal core, where did the space come from? If I couldn't crush the space crystal core, how could I expose her supplies? If she died, would the space still exist? Was her space not an ability? My mind was in a mess, and I was frantically thinking, let's just arrange it like this. During this time, for some unknown reason, Harper actually took the initiative to invite me to her base. I agreed. Her mysterious space had me at a loss for the moment, and I needed time to think of a solution. On the way back, I heard the male voice discussing me. She must be an ability user of telepathy. It seems that her ability is almost at the full level. Harper, don't worry, I can absorb her. Of course, we have to take her back to the base. Killing her directly would be too easy for her. It's more interesting to destroy her spirit. Destroy her spirit, that's right. Harper and I were indeed destined to be enemies until one of us died. At first, she had excellent grades but came from a poor family. My uncle, as her counselor, couldn't bear to see her burdened, so he asked her to tutor my younger brother and paid her 200 yuan per class. It was said to be tutoring, but in fact, it was financial support. However, Harper, who had been expressing gratitude, was discovered by me to be exposing her body and using seductive words to my 16-year-old younger brother with improper intentions. After driving her out of the house, she had a resentful expression and questioned me. I made a mistake. But aren't you guys at fault either? When your family was happy, who cared about me? I just wanted to join your family, not cause trouble. Now that you're ignoring me, how am I supposed to live in the future? I'm in this situation because of you guys. Since then, she had launched a crazy revenge against us. My company was reported by her and shut down. My younger brother was slandered by her and had to suspend his studies. My uncle was suspended from his position because of her, and my parents. Have you dreamed of your parents after the end of the world? Harper suddenly came up to me and said with emotion, your uncle and aunt were really nice people. Fortunately, they died early. Slap. I raised my hand and gave Harper a hard slap. I didn't stop walking and continued forward. The others stared at me in surprise. Harper caught up and wanted to say more. I raised my hand and gave her another slap. You talked so much. Didn't you just want me to hit you? I'll satisfy you. The others got angry and drew their knives one after another. Harper, however, stopped them. There was clearly a look of "see, you're in pain" in her eyes, but she still explained, don't be angry, I didn't mean it. I'm just a bit excited to think that you're going to my base. What could make her so excited? Suddenly, my heart skipped a beat, and my blood seemed to flow backward. I stared at Harper in disbelief. Could it be, for, on the day the end of the world arrived, in order to avoid Harper's harassment, my younger brother, my uncle, and I left the villa and moved to the city center. After running out of ammunition and food and fighting our way out of the community, we realized that the whole city was filled with broken limbs and the howls of zombies. All the shops were empty. The underground garage was empty, every car on the street couldn't start, and there wasn't a drop of oil in the fuel tank. There were layers of zombies in front of us. To survive, we had to get out of the city. We pushed the car towards the gas station, planning the driving escape route along the way and thinking about the location of the survivor base, and fought our way out. Before we even reached the gas station, we were already desperate. The area around the gas station in front of us was densely packed with cars that had been pushed there. We could only flee on foot and head towards our home in the outskirts. There were 2 cars and sufficient supplies at home, which could support us for a period of time. It was only later that I learned that someone had taken away all the supplies in Yunqing within a week, turning Yunqing into a living hell. She had taken away all the hope of survival. At that time, I, who knew nothing and was heading towards the outskirts, was still encouraging my younger brother, saying that we were just too unlucky and that everything would be fine as long as we got home. Little did I know, what awaited me was only deeper despair. 5. Harper's base was transformed from a school. The leader is back. The leader has worked hard. Smiling faces and greetings came one after another, and no one paid attention to my stiffness. Are you happy? Harper's voice, seeking credit, came. I turned my head and saw that she had a bright smile. Harper pointed at the wooden board connecting the ditches on the ground with her foot, motioning for me to take a closer look. This was my family photo. My young parents were hugging my younger brother, and my uncle and I were standing behind them. Everyone's smiling faces had become blurred after years of being stepped on. Don't take it to heart, everyone does this. She pointed at the other photo frames lined up together. No matter how precious something is, in the apocalypse, it can only become a tool. Your parents would be happy to be able to contribute to society in this way. Her loud voice attracted everyone's attention. After they looked at my appearance and that of my younger brother on my back, they understood. It's you, what a coincidence. We're short of things for the base construction. Sorry about that. Thank you. Their eyes were sincere. and they were actually thanking me from the bottom of their hearts. I looked at the familiar objects around me, and my heart ached. The home that I had been searching for everywhere was actually here. This familiar small desk was the one my uncle used to teach my younger brother how to write. Now it was broken and stuck in the soil as a pigsty. The one next to it was probably a firewood pile. I picked up a piece in the air, to choo-choo. These were my father's words, in a trance. The scene of my father and mother playing a duet on the piano appeared in front of my eyes again. I knew you would be so touched. The memory was interrupted. Harper chuckled and took out a piece of paper to wipe my tears. You don't have to thank me too much. I just casually helped you preserve the furniture. As she spoke, she pulled me and continued walking inside until we reached a door. She reached out and pushed the door open, shouting, "Surprise." She walked into the room and turned to look at me with a proud and provocative look in her eyes. The living room in front of me was exactly the same as my home. I felt as if I had gone back to before the end of the world. I always felt that my parents would come out of the bedroom and ask me what to eat today. Harper looked at me with a beaming smile. I had a new understanding of her malice. My agitated mood gradually calmed down. I walked into the room, gently placed my younger brother on the sofa, and turned around to look at Harper steadily, saying word by word, "So it was you." At first, one gas station didn't break me down, but when faced with every scarce gas station, I still collapsed. But this was just the beginning. On the way of escape, we couldn't find any supplies. Everyone gradually went from being calm to being crazy. Everyone who was still struggling to survive was holding on for that tiny bit of hope. My hope was to go home, countless times, when I was on the verge of collapse. It was my uncle who held me back and encouraged me. "Brielle, hold on a little longer. Everything will be fine when we get home." His firm eyes gave me great courage. I want to go home, but I was too naive to hide under my uncle's protection. It wasn't until he was dragged away that I realized why there was always someone missing in every family and what the meat we ate every day was. I desperately pushed through the crowd, trying to save him, but what I saw was his throat being cut with a knife and blood gushing out. In a trance, I saw his mouth move as if he said, "Go." In that instant, I lost all my senses and became a machine that only knew how to execute orders. I rushed into the tent, grabbed my younger brother, and ran towards that destination. If gods blocked my way, I would slay the gods. If Buddhas blocked my way, I would slay the Buddhas. There was only one thought in my mind: go home. I want to go home. I have to go home, otherwise, how could I face all of this? When I finally got close to that familiar building and saw the wide open windows and doors, I was on the verge of breaking down, but I didn't. Holding on to my last hope, I went home. Everywhere I looked was empty. The cars, supplies, the sacrificial altar, the photos, all the furniture, everything. It was all gone. My home was gone. I collapsed to the ground and couldn't stand up anymore. In the distance, a tide of zombies surged. I held my younger brother's hand and calmly waited for death. But at the moment of life and death, I awakened my X-ray vision ability. In the energy of the surrounding zombies, I saw the only way to survive. I thought that they were blessing me. If I died, who would I be worthy of? I still have a grudge to avenge. I can't die. Haha. Hearing my question, Harper laughed. With a half smile, she retorted, "So what if it was me, with the end of the world here? There's no such thing as private property anymore, to me. These are just some furniture that I can still look at. These things are worthless. If I'm not in a good mood, I could just smash them all. If you really like them, say some nice words to me, and I might as well give them to you directly." She kept talking as if she had been waiting for this moment for a long time and had rehearsed these words countless times in her heart. So this was her way of hurting me deeply. She knew that I must have gone back to look for these things, and she just wanted me to see with my own eyes how she treated the things I cherished like trash, worthless. It really hurt. However, "Thank you," I said sincerely. Harper was suddenly stunned. "What? Thank you for preserving these pieces of furniture for me." Harper's face suddenly turned red and then pale. I smiled softly and touched the sofa. "You once said that you liked my home when you were at my place. I thought you were just joking. I didn't expect that you could still keep these things so well in the apocalypse. To be honest, I couldn't have done it myself. You really put in some thought." Harper's chest heaved violently, and she squeezed out the words from her mouth. "Actually, you don't have to force it. If you're angry, just say it. I won't laugh at you. How could I be forcing it?" I widened my eyes. "I didn't believe you when you said you wanted to repay our family before, but now I really do. Thank you." Afraid that it wasn't convincing enough, I pointed at my sleeping younger brother and assured Harper, "If you still don't believe me, I can ask him to kowtow to you when he wakes up later." Harper was at a loss for words. Her face was gloomy, and she didn't say a word. Seeing that she didn't speak, I pressed on. "Do you mean that I should be angry? I don't understand what there is to be angry about. Why don't you elaborate?" Harper laughed out of anger and opened her mouth to mock me. "You're quite eloquent." The next second, something strange happened. I saw that Harper's face suddenly turned scarlet, and the mountains of supplies gradually became invisible. Suddenly, a huge mouth emerged from the space and rushed towards me. Harper crossed her arms and slowly said, "Goodbye. Although I wanted to deal with you myself, but..." Leader, suddenly, there was a knock on the door, and someone pushed the door open and came in. It's time for dinner. 6. Being interrupted, Harper was briefly annoyed, and then she pretended that nothing had happened. She told everyone to treat me well and stayed in the room to deal with official business herself. It was the depths of winter. I held back my younger brother, who woke up and wanted to fight Harper, and sat around the campfire with all the base residents, eating roasted potatoes. Don't quarrel with the leader. She's the best leader in the world. She has to manage hundreds of us all by herself, and she works so hard. It was the little boy who had just knocked on the door. Presumably, he had seen the tense situation between me and Harper. Feeling sorry for Harper, while turning the roasted potato in his hand, he persuaded me. The leader risks her life to find supplies for us. Her food, clothing, and daily expenses are the same as ours, or even worse. I can't figure out why you want to hurt her. The people around nodded in agreement and looked at me with hopeful eyes, as if I made things difficult for Harper any further, I would be an unforgivable person. They were all holding the only lunch of the day in their hands, a roasted potato. They ate it carefully and would even pick up the crumbs that fell and eat them, but I saw that Harper was eating hot pot alone in the room. Finally, it's roasted. The child beamed with joy and ran towards Harper's room, holding the carefully roasted potato. Before he even got close, Harper had already noticed. With a wave of her hand, everything disappeared. She opened the door happily. "Thank you, Ryan. I'm starving." By the time Ryan ran back with a satisfied look on his face, Harper had already started eating hot pot again, her movements as skillful as if she had done it thousands of times. And that carefully selected potato was casually thrown into the space by Harper. There was a mountain of garbage in the space, and the mountain of garbage was full of potatoes. Then Harper took out a wet wipe and wiped her fingers that were stained with potato char one by one before continuing to eat the hot pot. After eating, Harper casually took out several down jackets and lay on the sofa contentedly, looking at everyone outside the window. Next to her, Ryan was hugging himself and shivering. His stacked t-shirts were far from enough to resist the biting cold wind, and the residents were still reviewing today's actions, blaming themselves for finding too few supplies and not letting the leader have something good to eat. The others echoed one by one. I probably understood the reason why Harper didn't want to ruin her image. Who wouldn't want to be a savior? Brielle, you're not a spy sent by another base, are you? The sudden voice brought my thoughts back. Harper, who had somehow come up to me, suddenly started questioning me. Recently, there have been people who sneak into other bases to scout and then steal the supplies. Could it be you? As soon as she finished speaking, the originally warm atmosphere around suddenly became serious. Everyone who had been chatting and laughing just now suddenly looked at me with wary eyes. It seemed that she and I were thinking along the same lines. Are you really a spy? My brief pause made Harper shriek. There was a moment of silence. I'm not, I gently refuted, and I was indeed a bit hesitant. It's just that I do have a mission, and I'm not sure if I should say it. Of course you should say it. Harper's face turned serious, and she affirmed, we're friends. There's nothing you can't say. Everyone can help you together. Unexpectedly, she really dug something out, and Harper was a bit excited. I hesitated for a while and then said frankly, I'm looking for someone. Ryan chimed in, sister. Who are you looking for? Tell me. If I see that person, I will definitely tell you. I nodded heavily and took out a photo from my pocket. The person's sister is looking for is her. Alas, before I could finish speaking, Harper snatched the photo from my hand. She looked at the photo and said disdainfully, I'd like to see who this person is. After seeing clearly the person in the photo, Harper froze. The hand holding the photo started to tremble. I pulled the photo out of her hand and handed it to Ryan, asking him to pass it around for everyone to see. At the same time, I cleared my throat and introduced loudly, this person is a sinner of the apocalypse. The shortage of supplies across the country is all because of her. She is an infinite space ability user. 5 years ago, she looted billions of supplies, causing countless people to freeze to death and starve to death. My mission is to find her and kill her. As I spoke, I paced in front of Harper and asked her, Leader, do you think this person should be killed? Beads of sweat dripped from Harper's forehead, and her whole body was stiff. Even though the photo was extremely blurry, she knew clearly that this person was her. The base residents became angry. She should be killed. So it was her who made me suffer so much. How could there be such a vicious person? If I find out who she is, I will tear her into pieces. Even if she's dead, I'll dig her up and whip her corpse. The resident holding the photo was puzzled. Why do I think this person looks so familiar? I must have seen her somewhere. Let me think. Harper suddenly appeared in front of him and snatched the photo away. How could you have seen her? Don't cause trouble. Someone else raised their hand. Leader, let me take another look. I'm very likely to have seen this person, Leader. Let me see it too. Harper was sweating profusely. She turned around and shouted, What are you yelling about? Aren't you afraid of attracting zombies with such a loud voice? You're becoming more and more unruly. She turned to face me and abruptly changed the subject. Do you want to stay overnight tonight? Who would dare to stay overnight? I'm afraid of being sexually harassed. My younger brother couldn't help but sneer. You're in a hurry to change the subject. Are you feeling guilty? Looking at Harper's flustered appearance, I tugged at my younger brother and told him to stop there. It wasn't a good time to reveal everything yet. After returning to the room, I explained to my younger brother, I've already sent a signal. The main force is coming soon. Before that, let's take back all the things from our home. I also had my own selfish motives. My younger brother was a space ability user. Upon hearing this, he quickly understood everything and nodded in agreement. Suddenly, the base alarm sounded. Warning, warning, all supplies in the base have been stolen. All supplies in the base have been stolen. Along with it came the shouting outside the door. Brielle, you bitch, open the door for me. It seemed that the time had come. 7. I pushed the door open. There were people everywhere in front of me. Harper was leading the way, crying, it's all my fault. I misjudged them, just now, when I went to the warehouse to check the supplies. I found that all the supplies were gone. There have never been any outsiders in our base. It can only be them who did it. I'm sorry, everyone. I looked at her space and indeed saw a pile of newly added supplies. Supplies are the lifeblood of every base. She was trying to stand on the moral high ground and judge me in front of everyone. The residents looked at me with hatred and cursed at me. Shameless. Give us back our things. Harper cried uncontrollably. Brielle, please. Even if we had an unpleasant experience, you can't play with everyone's lives. I apologize to you. I'll kneel down for you. Please return everyone's supplies. Since the leader was being so humble, the residents became even angrier, and the atmosphere suddenly became intense. ***. Give us back our supplies. Don't even think about leaving without taking out the supplies today. Just as everyone was pushing and shoving and about to start a fight, Harper raised her hand to indicate that she had something to say. She composed herself and admonished us. Brielle, Serena, if you take out the supplies now, I can let bygones be bygones. My younger brother roared. Don't you know whether we took them or not? What are you pretending for? Seeing that we didn't yield, Harper laughed out of anger and nodded repeatedly. Fine. If you don't want the proffered wine but insist on the penalty wine, meaning if you don't accept the kind offer, you'll have to face the consequence. As soon as she finished speaking, my younger brother and I suddenly fell to the ground, losing our strength. Damn it, sis. My younger brother reached out to me with all his might, but he still collapsed. One person jumped out and praised Harper's foresight. Leader is wise. Fortunately, you asked me to poison them, otherwise, we couldn't have controlled them at all, so the smoke that I saw just now was poison. I thought it was someone's fart. Harper chuckled and asked the others to tie us up and drag us to the base square for the execution. 8. Dark clouds covered the sun. My younger brother and I were forced to kneel on the base square. The onlookers formed circle after circle, eager to execute us with their own hands. Harper was sitting upright on the high platform in the front. She spoke, and her voice seemed to press down from the sky. I'm giving you one last chance. Hand over the supplies. Hand over the supplies. Hand over the supplies. My younger brother was furious. The supplies are clearly in your hands. Oh, Harper seemed to have heard a joke and burst into laughter. Do you mean I stole from myself? She pointed at her own head and sneered at my younger brother. Are you out of your mind? Then she turned to look at me, and her ability instantly pressed down on me. Brielle, have you gone mute? I rolled my eyes. Harper was instantly enraged. Do you believe that I'll kill Serena right in front of you? Mentioning my younger brother, I was moved. I hoped he wouldn't be angry with me later. Seeing that I was afraid, Harper smiled and proposed a solution. Self-destruct. I'll spare his life. No one had gone out of the base today. Hundreds of people were all gathered in the square, waiting for our execution. Harper urged, do it. The surrounding crowd shouted, self-destruct. Self-destruct. Seeing that I was indifferent, Harper laughed until she bent over. So you're a coward. It must be painful for you to grovel at my feet. I was kind enough to be Serena's tutor, but you drove me away and even spread rumors to ruin my reputation, making me lose my source of income. Yet I still treated you with kindness in return for your evil. I didn't expect that you would not only hurt me but also the people of the whole base. You're truly despicable. The base residents were filled with righteous indignation and stepped closer to us, shouting, kill, kill, kill. In the deafening sound waves, Harper slowly crossed her legs, with a half-smile on her face, and transmitted her voice using her ability. Brielle, I didn't expect you to end up like this. I was really sad that I couldn't wait for you in those days of the apocalypse. I could only take away the things from your home and leave you homeless. Fortunately, you came to me yourself. Do you want to kill me? You don't have the ability. Dying in humiliation in front of everyone is the best fate I've arranged for you. The more she thought about it, the more excited she became. She stood up agitatedly and shrieked. When the apocalypse came, I thought that a young lady like you would just hide at home and cry. I didn't expect you to be quite strong. It's a pity that your ability is useless. Ha. You really bring shame to your parents. As she spoke, she took out a photo of my parents from her pocket. I suddenly stood up. I had been searching everywhere for these photos, and it turned out that she had them. My parents died in a car accident. On their way to work, they crashed into an oil tanker while trying to avoid a pedestrian and exploded on the spot, leaving no remains. That pedestrian was Harper. I had once believed that she was innocent, but then I saw the smile on her face as she turned and left the scene in the surveillance video. My younger brother's eyes were blood red, and he struggled to get up. The surrounding audience joined in the abuse. Like parents, like children, your parents weren't any good either. They deserve to die, deserve to die, deserve to die. My younger brother struggled with all his might, but he was weak all over and could only roar, "Shut up." Harper laughed wildly. She slowly picked up the photo, tore it to pieces, and threw it away. Harper nodded, tears streaming down her face. I sneered, raised my hand and lifted one of the mountains, and there were countless corpses lying underneath. Bella, the man, let out a cry of surprise, rushed over, picked up a corpse and wailed. She didn't sacrifice herself. She was killed by Harper. She was a space ability user, right? After eating people, Harper's space became even larger. And she also got all the supplies of your girlfriend. Holding his girlfriend, the man saw the goods they had stuck together and went crazy. I can testify that I saw the leader kill someone, but I was too afraid to say it. I'm sorry. In the chaos, someone stepped forward. I can also testify that I saw the leader take things out of thin air. She must have space ability. One by one, the base residents came forward to testify. Harper could no longer defend herself. And everyone could no longer deceive themselves. Everyone silently stood behind me. Seeing this, Harper was furious. "You ungrateful wretches, you would have died long ago without me. Aren't you supposed to support me?" In response to her, there were even more venomous looks. Harper was enraged. "I'll kill you all." Then she looked up and shouted into the air, "System, come out and kill them now." Everyone was dubious and stared around in fear. Harper threatened me harshly, "Just you wait. I'll make sure you die without even a place to be buried." She looked like she was going crazy, with her hair disheveled, and she shouted wildly, "System, system, get out here right now." The only response to her was deathly silence. Harper stood up and threatened me in a rush. "You can't kill me. I'm the hope of humanity. I have a system, and it was the system that told me to hoard supplies. He told me that only in this way can humanity survive, just like in the novels. I'm the one in a million chosen one, the most special one, haha. Only those selected by the natural disasters are the future of humanity. I will take out the supplies and save everyone then." As she spoke, she became angry and pointed at everyone forcefully. "It's you. You've destroyed the only hope of humanity." I raised my hand and grabbed hard. A man flew out from the mountain of supplies. He had just fallen out along with the supplies. I threw him to the ground. "Is this your system?" Harper was shocked. It was absolutely impossible for a human to survive in the space. Wasn't the system invisible? Wasn't it a string of advanced codes that could command the elements? Who is this person? I squatted down and gave the man a hard slap, waking him up from his fainting state. He opened his eyes and shouted for me not to kill him. His voice was exactly the same as the male voice I had heard. He knelt down and confessed everything in detail. "My name is Paige. I awakened the space parasitism ability in the apocalypse. I can live in the space all the time, but I have to parasitize on someone else. I chose Harper. She is indeed selfish, recklessly hoarded supplies, only bringing them in and never giving them out. I lived a carefree life in the space. I originally planned to kill her after the apocalypse ended, take out the supplies and become a great hero. Please don't kill me. I haven't hurt anyone." She's the one who killed people. In his panic, he shifted all the blame onto Harper. The crowd was in an uproar, and their looks towards Harper turned to one of contempt. As soon as he opened his mouth, Harper was dazed. This was the voice of the system. He was the system. Harper had survived in this apocalypse, always claiming to be the savior and looking down on everyone haughtily. She firmly believed that she was the protagonist of the world. She never expected to be used. "How dare you deceive me? Who asked you to be so greedy? It would have been fine if you had hoarded a little, but you hoarded trillions of supplies and didn't leave anyone a way to live. How could a person like you become a hero? You can only be my stepping stone. Choosing someone like you as a host is really the shame of my life." Paige pointed at Harper's nose and scolded her. "You." Harper was furious and launched a full-powered lightning strike at Paige. Paige was instantly reduced to ashes. Harper slowly stood up, looked down at me with a sinister expression. "What? It seems like you want to be a great hero. Have you forgotten that you're a hypocrite who even didn't spare your own students? Back then, I begged you so much, but your parents still wanted to completely destroy me. They went to my school to complain and asked them to expel me." "Hey," I interrupted her. "They were just going to work. You're talking nonsense." Harper didn't believe me. She raised her hands and summoned the heavenly thunder with all her might. "You all deserve to die. As long as you're dead, no one will know about today's events, and I will still have a bright future. No one is leaving here today." The dark clouds pressed down on the city, and the base was instantly enveloped in darkness. Lightning flashed in the sky, and there were rumbling sounds. Harper let out a loud shout, and tens of thousands of bolts of thunder were about to fall. I directly reached up my hand and crushed her crystal core from a distance. Ah, the pain of the crystal core shattering was like thousands of needles piercing her heart. Harper let out a cry of pain, and her ability fizzled out. The lightning disappeared. She couldn't hold on any longer and fell heavily off the high platform. 9. Harper lost her ability. She became the ordinary person she had feared the most. After the apocalypse arrived, she not only had a powerful lightning ability but also an infinite space for hoarding supplies. She was the only one who hadn't suffered in this apocalypse. She knelt down and kowtowed, begging me to kill her. It seemed that she also knew what the consequences would be if her actions were discovered. She also knew that perhaps only I could make her death more painless among all these people. Under her expectant gaze, I agreed. I took her back to Yunqing. I hung her on a big tree next to the place where my parents had the car accident. When she closed her eyes and waited for me to end her life, I turned around and left. Brielle, come back here. Behind me came her desperate roar, but I just smiled, dug my ears, lifted my leg and jumped to the highest point, quietly enjoying the scene. No one would answer her calls anymore. There were only the hungry zombies all over the city. They were like awakened puppets, staggering step by step towards their stage. Without her ability, Harper knew what was in store for her. Watching the zombies surround her, she shrieked and cried. With snot and tears streaming down her face, she twisted like a fish on a chopping block and lost control of her bowels and bladder within minutes. She roared, "No, please, Brielle, don't do this to me. Give me a quick death. How can you be such a sister? Your younger brother is about to die, yet you're just crying here. How can there be a quick death with these thousands of zombies around?" Her pleas soon turned into curses, then back to pleas, and then curses again. If she was about to die, the healing ability user waiting nearby would save her. If she was almost being eaten up, someone would come out to control the number of zombies. All in all, she would never die. There were too many people who hated her. She didn't deserve to die. She deserved a fate worse than death. 10. The next day, the main force arrived. These trillions of supplies were transferred in batches and distributed to those in need, saving countless lives. Brielle, you would die if you don't pretend, right? You made me so worried. You have to compensate me for my tears. My younger brother, who had finally figured it out, was furious, his eyes red. He punched me wildly. The more he thought about it, the angrier he got. And he squatted on the ground and burst into tears. I smiled and gave him a bear hug. "No matter what, I can protect you," he cried and nestled into my arms, hugging me tightly. I stared at the pile of shredded paper on the ground. With a wave of my hand, the shredded paper flew over and automatically combined into a brand new photo. "Here you are." I hugged his head and handed him the photo of our parents. "Wow, sis. You're so amazing, you bet."